A and B as well as the x squared and y squared. So ano kayong mga clues ang pwede nating makuha from this phonics section? Can you see my screen? Bakit
Yes,
may ano na?
sir.
Can you see? Bakit may Candy Crush na dito sa aking screen? Anyway, by the way, for the a midterm exam, it should be closed formula, meaning to say no formula guide in most of the items are problem solving. So you have to study. That is why it is very important that you have to master the clues as well as the graphing by counting. Wait. If there are questions later, you may interrupt and ask questions. Hyperbola. Definition of hyperbola. A hyperbola is a set of all coplanar points such that the difference of its distances from two fixed points is constant. The fixed points are called the foci of the hyperbola. A hyperbola, like the ellipse, has two axes of symmetry, two vertices, two foci, and two latus rectum. The intersection of the two axes of symmetry is the center of the hyperbola. The center is the midpoint between the two foci. The hyperbola intersects the focal axis in 2 points called the vertices. These vertices are the endpoints of a segment called transverse axis. The center is also the midpoint between the two vertices. The axis that contains the foci, the center and the vertices of the hyperbola is referred to as focal axis or principal axis. Another axis that plays an important role in defining the hyperbola is the conjugate axis. This axis has no point in common with the hyperbola. It is perpendicular to the transverse axis at the center. A segment passing through a focus of the hyperbola that is perpendicular to the focal axis is called latus rectum. An auxiliary rectangle that is not part of the hyperbola plays an important role in graphing the hyperbola. A pair of opposite sides of the rectangle passes through the vertices. These are perpendicular to the transverse axis. The other pair passes through the endpoints of the conjugate axis. A pair of lines that is closely related to but also not part of the hyperbola are the asymptotes of the hyperbola. The asymptotes intersect at the center of the hyperbola. A hyperbola approaches its asymptotes but will never intersect them. Each of the asymptotes passes through the opposite vertices of the auxiliary rectangle. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
thank you. Okay, according to the definitions and some important terms related to hyperbola, we have here the uh, transverse axis, we have the conjugate axis, we have the asymptotes, and we have the auxiliary rectangle. So first, you need to identify the endpoints of these two axes, the conjugate and the transverse. Then later on, you're going to draw the auxiliary rectangle, and that would be your guide in order for you to have the asymptotes. The asymptotes are formed by joining two non-consecutive vertices of the auxiliary rectangle. So, andyan sa illustration, so para siyang X. And these two asymptotes intersect at the center of the hyperbola. Then these two, the rectangle and the asymptotes, are not part of the hyperbola, but they are just guide. Magiging guide lang sila later. The asymptotes would serve as the limit, or it will just approach on that part of the graph, but it will never touch. Hindi siya pwedeng lalampas. Example, in our first example here, the center is at 0, 0, or the origin of the Cartesian plane. Take note that the solution of this kind of problem is very long. In our whiteboard here is just would not be enough. So sometimes the solutions are very quick, and I'll be removing, well, I remove some solutions. Nilalagay ko na lang yung mga final answers. So quick in doing the screenshot if you want. And if there some questions, you may ask for clarifications. Okay, let's start. Example, find the coordinates of the foci and vertices, the endpoints of the transverse axis, conjugate axis, and latus rectum of the hyperbola, whose center is at 0, 0. Draw the hyperbola and its directrices. The given equation is x squared over 4 minus y squared over. You will use the guide where the equation is of this form. So from here we can say that a square is equal to 4. So therefore a is 2. Then b squared is equal to 12. So therefore b is equal to the square root of 12, which is equal to 2 square root of 3. Then c squared is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared, which is square root of 4 plus 12 square root of 16, which is equal to 4. The values of a, b, and c are 2, 2 square root of 3, and 4. Let us find out what are asked given. Now a is 2, b is 2 square root of 3, and c equals 4. So foci, the guide is positive, negative c0. So therefore, the foci is c is 4, 0. The other one is negative 4, 0. So if we're going to plot this, 4, 0. And the other one. Then the vertices, positive, negative a, c. 0. So therefore, A is 2. So 2, 0, and negative 2. Naka-off pala ang mic ko. Ang sinabi ko kanina was better while solving or before you're going to solve, draw or prepare the Cartesian plane right out. Again, uh, better prepare your Cartesian plane before writing the solutions so that later on, if you can have already the points or the coordinates of the points, then plot it right away. Because sometimes, uh, or maybe most of the times, by just looking at the position of the points on the Cartesian plane, you can have the clues on what would be the position of the graph of the conic section. So again, before solving, you must have already your Cartesian plane. And please draw your Cartesian plane clearly and neatly. Okay, continue. 0. So let us plot negative 2, 0 and positive 2, 0. The endpoints of the transverse axis. So we have here positive, negative a 0. So 2, 0 and negative 2, 0. In dito, same as the vertices. So endpoints of the conjugate axis, 0, positive, negative b. So this is 0, 2 square root of 3. Then the other one is 0, negative 2 square root of 3. Then the endpoints of conjugate axis, 2 square root of 3 is equal to 3.46. So 3.46 something here and negative 3.46. Okay. The purpose of this transverse axis and the conjugate axis, this would be our guide to find the asymptotes of our graph. So we will just connect, create here a rectangle. Okay. Then you're going to connect this 2 points. 2 points and these 2 points. Okay. For the endpoints of latus rectum, the guide, negative 6, positive negative b square over a, one pair. Then the other pair is C positive negative B square over A. So B square over A, B square over A is 12, A is 2. So this is 6. So therefore, one pair is negative 4, positive 6. The other one is negative 4, negative 6. And for the other pair, we have 4, positive 6, and positive 4, negative 6. So these are the endpoints of latus rectum. Negative 4, positive 6. Positive 6. Then 4, negative 6. The other one is 4, positive 6. 4, positive 6. Kanina negative, ngayon positive. So, 4, positive 6. So, we can now draw, connect the points. So, from the vertex going to latus rectum, it should not touch this line here. So, the other one. Then, okay. So, you can connect here the latus rectum. Then, for the directrices, the guide is x is equal to positive negative a square over c, and a square over c is 4 and c is 4, which is 1. So therefore, the equation of the directrices are x is equal to positive 1 and x is equal to negative 1. So if we're going to draw that, dito ang x negative 1, so andito ang direct 1 directrix, and the other directrix. Question. Can you hear me? 11 Galilea.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Meron ba tayong katanungan? Any clarification? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's continue. I want you to take note on the arrangement of the numbers here. Denominator. So this is of the form of, we're going to look at the squared, this one, minus that there, x squared over 4 minus y squared over 12 is equal to 1. This is of the form x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared is equal to 1. Now, what can you conclude? Ito, a squared is 4, b squared is equal to 12. Does it mean that b squared should be greater than 12, or it has something to do with the position? Would come first. So later on, Later on, we'll have another example, then check if can we can we say that B should always be greater than A. Let's continue. Another example, the given equation is 9y squared minus 16x squared minus 144 is equal to 0. The given is in general form, so we will rewrite this in standard form. We will transpose the constant to the right side. So 9y squared minus 16x squared is equal. Just wait, naghang lang ang PowerPoint. To 144. Equate the equation to 1, so therefore divide both sides by 144. So this is y squared over 16 minus x squared over 9 is equal to 1. The equation is in the form of y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared is equal to 1. So therefore, a is equal to square root of 16 is 4. B is 9. B squared is 9, so square root of 9 is 3. And C is for a well class, huh? Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes
Okay,
po.
so just pasensya na muna kayo. Okay. PowerPoint. While waiting, reminders for those who are not submitting their assignments, ha? Meron pang hindi nag-submit from lesson 1. Please submit your outputs ASAP. Continue. Another example, the given equation is 9y squared minus 16x squared minus 144 is equal to 0. The given is in general form, so we will rewrite this in standard form. We will transpose the constant to the right side. So 9y squared minus 16x squared is equal to 144. Equate the equation to 1, so therefore divide both sides by 144. So this is y squared over 16 minus x squared over 9 is equal to 1. The equation is in the form of y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared is equal to 1. So therefore, a is equal to square root of 16 is 4. B is 9. B squared is 9, so square root of 9 is 3. And C is square root of 16 plus 9 is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5. Coordinates of the foci, the guide is 0, positive, negative, C. So therefore this is 0, C is 5, so positive 5 and 0, negative 5. So 0, positive 5 and 0, negative 5. Then vertices is we have 0, A is 4 and 0, negative 4. So 0, 4, 0, negative 4. Then endpoints of the transverse axis, the same as the vertices. So 0, 4 and 0, negative 4. For endpoints of the conjugate axis, we have the 3, 0 and negative 3, 0. So 3, 0, negative 3, 0. So we can now draw here the rectangle for our guide later. Then connect. Connect. Okay. So we'll now find the endpoints of the latus rectum. For the endpoints of latus rectum, the guide is positive negative b squared over a, negative c for the one pair, and for the other pair, positive negative b squared over a, then positive c. B squared over a is b squared is 9 over 4, which is 2 and 1/4. So we have here positive, negative, positive 9 over 4, negative c is negative 5, and the other one is negative 9 over 4, negative 5. The other pair is 9 over 4, positive 5, and negative 9 over 4, positive 5. 9 over 4 is 2 and 1/4. So x is 2, positive 2 and 1/4, 2 and 1/4. 2 and 1/4, then negative 5. 2 and 1/4, negative 5. Then negative 2 and 1/4, negative 5. Then positive 2 and 1/4, positive 5. 2 and 1/4, positive 5. Then negative 2 and 1/4, positive 5. So we can now connect. It will not touch this line. Then latus rectum, latus rectum. For the directrices, the guide is y is equal to positive negative a square over c. And a square over c is a square is 16 and c is 5, which is equal to 3.2. So therefore, the equations are y is equal to 3.2 and y is equal to negative 3.2. So y 3.2, 1, 2, 3. Lampas konti sa 3. Then negative 3.2. Lampas konti sa negative 3. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do you have question? Meron na ba tayong na-conclude? Out from the first two examples. By the way, here in our first two examples, the center is at the origin. Meron na ba tayong pwedeng clue na madaling matandaan pag mag-close notes quiz na or pag mag-midterm na tayo? Kanina, open left and right. Then this time, open upward and downward. Ano kaya yung, paano kaya sinusulat ang equation in standard form? If it is open to left and open to right, or open upward, downward, ano kaya magiging clue? So kung wala pa tayong na-notice ngayon, okay, more example. This time, the center is not the origin or not 0, 0. So meaning to say, it can be any point on the Cartesian plane. Let's continue. Example. The given conditions are the center is at 7, negative 2. So 7, negative 2. Then vertex is at 2, negative 2. So one vertex is at 2, negative 2. In an endpoint of conjugate axis. So endpoint of conjugate axis is 7, negative 6. So 7, negative 6. So from here, we can determine the values of A and B. So from the center, which is 7, negative 2, to endpoint of a vertex 2, negative 2 is the value of A. So let's count from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So therefore we can say that A is 5. The distance from center to endpoint of conjugate axis, that is the value of B. So from here, so 1, 2, 3, 4. B is 4. And to find C, we will just square this 2, then find the square root. So 25 plus 16 is 25 plus 16 is square root of 41. And 41 is has no exact root, so we'll just leave our answer as it is. C is equal to square root of 41. By looking at the position of the points, so the center and the vertex, if we're going to connect them, it will form a horizontal line. So therefore, our equation is of the form x minus h squared, denominator of a, minus y. We will just transfer here. So x minus h squared over a square minus y minus k square over b square is equal to 1. Our a is denominator of x because our focal axis is horizontal. So our equation would be, if we will substitute, our equation would be, claro, be x, h is 7 minus 7 square over 25 minus y minus 2, so plus 2 square over 16 is equal to 1. So our equation in standard form. So we will now graph center, the vertex, the distance is 5. So we will count also 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the second vertex is 12, negative 2. Then the second endpoint of the conjugate axis. So since the distance from the center to this point is 4, so we will count 4 upward. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The second endpoint is 7, 2. So from here we can now draw the rectangle that would serve as our guide later to find the asymptote. Then connect the two points so the foci, the guide is H plus minus C, then K. So therefore, the points are H is 7 plus C. So the value of square root of 41 is 6.4. So therefore, H plus C, 7 plus 6.4 is 13.4. Then K is negative 2. The other foci is H7 minus 6.4 is 0.6. So 0.6. Then K is negative 2. So we'll plot 13.4, 13. 11, 12, 13.4. Dito. Then negative 2. Then the other one is 0.6. 0.6 dito banda. Then negative 2. So these are the foci. So we will now find the endpoints of the latus rectum. The guide is H minus C, then K plus minus B square over A for one pair. Then the other one is H plus C, then K plus minus B square over A. H minus C is 0.6. Dito yun kanina. Then K plus B square over A. K is negative 2 plus B square is 16 over 5. And this is negative 2 plus 16 over 5 is 3.2. So negative 2 plus 3.2 is 1.2. So 1.2. Then the other pair is 0.6. Then K minus so negative 2 minus 16 over 5. So this is minus negative 2 minus 3.2. The answer is negative 5.2. So this is negative 5.2. The second pair is H plus C. H plus C is 13.4. Then same 1.2. Then the other one is 13.4. Then negative 5.2. So let us plot the latus rectum. 0.6, 1.2. So dito lang banda. Masyado malapit. Then the other one is 0.6, negative 5.2. So connect na natin para hindi tayo mahilo. So the vertex going to endpoint of latus rectum, then this one, then the latus rectum. Then the second latus rectum is 0.6, negative 5, 13.4, then 11, 12, 13. So 13.4, 1.2. 13.4, negative 5.2. So connect. Question, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, may tanong ba tayo? Nasusundan pa ba ang ating mga discussions? I don't know if you are now confused with this the graphing, I think what makes it parang uninteresting to solve yung mga formulas na napakadami. Pero yun, ito yung ating lesson. So dapat talaga tayo, focus doon sa pag-pay attention at dapat additional reading dyan sa mga bahay-bahay ninyo. But anyway, meron ba kayong gustong linawin, gustong itanong related sa ating lesson for this afternoon? Think wala na. Natawag ako ng mag-screenshot.